All right, hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Intelligent Psycho back in here. So I'm gonna do a couple of videos today, but this I'm gonna start off with the WNBA recap from the last few games. I've been missing a few games, and I watched some games. I watched a few games recently, so we're gonna start with the LA Sparks and the Connecticut Sun. The LA Sparks are really getting hot at the right time, so they won, but they started off winning the other night over the guy, but I'm gonna talk about them. They won 101 to 86 over the Connecticut Sun, and the story of this game was, of course, Zora Stevens, Derica Hamby, and Kelsey Plum was on point. They were absolutely dominant from the beginning point. Their scoring ability, their ability to impact the game, rebounding wise and assist wise, they were just able to just dominate all over. And as far as the Connecticut Sun goes, they're pretty much stuck in limbo, man. They're pretty much just made for the lottery. But the LA Sparks are completely getting hot at the right time. They're making themselves known right now that they're trying to at least go for a run to at least try to get into the postseason from what I'm seeing, and they're trying to show and that they're improving over the course of the span of the last 4 games. So they're improving over time. But a good win for them because they're pushing themselves a lot further. And again, Derica Hamby really is making a case, and it really is improving and constantly getting their game, making their game, and getting their game better. Also, Julie Alleman also is in double figures with 12. She had a really solid game, and I really liked the way she was playing. So definitely a good win for them. And also just throughout their ability to attack the rim and attack the basket, their ability to just get in open space, making moves as far as just overall getting the teammates involved. Yeah, the Sparks just really did their thing that the other night. Let me see the Vegas Aces and the Fever. So yes, I did watch the Vegas Aces in the Fever. The Fever won 80 to 70. They outscored them in the third and fourth quarter. The Aces outscored them in the second quarter 23 to 17, but it just wasn't enough. Yeah, Nyla Smith, Aja Wilson, and Jackie Young had pretty decent games, but overall it just wasn't enough for them. The story for Indiana, of course, Kelsey Mitchell is absolutely just sensational. She has been one of the bright young stars, and of course, R. McDonald. Ever since she came back during the during the whole trade deadline, during the whole trade deadline at the earlier part of the year, she's come back and completely has changed this team around as far as just the offense goes, the flow of the offense, the flow of the defensively, getting the Fever into the right sets, getting them in the right sets on the perimeter. Defensively, they're improving. Aaliyah Boston is getting better, rebounding wise, and of course we know about Sophie Cunningham. You know, her comments, out of point comments, but she's constantly improving. Knowing at the time she was playing second fiddle to to Caitlin Clark, but now since Clark is gone, she's been she's been absolutely just sensational. I mean, not she's been really good, and Natasha Howard has been really good. So good. It's a really good win by the Fever, and I really do believe that they're constantly getting better and better over time. All right, so let's go to. All right, so the Seattle Storm won over the Chicago Sky by the score of 95 to 57. The story of this game, of course, the story of this game for the Storm, they at least 7 players were in double figures. All right. Anyways, like I was saying, getting back to the games. Um, the story of the game, the story of the Seattle Storm and the Chicago Sky game was all seven players were in double figures. Skylar Diggins had 21. Erica Wheeler had 13 in 24 minutes. Neka Ogamike, she had 10. Gabby Williams had 10. And Dominique Malonga, she had 14 and 10 in 17 minutes. And Lexi Brown off the bench, she had 12 and 16 minutes. Like, everybody was pretty much on point and doing their thing and constantly improving and constantly getting better. Um, and constantly improving their game and getting better. And although the Storm kind of been like up and down, in these past few games, been kind of a little bit, all over, but they starting to really this game they really kind of just showed their hand. But the Chicago Sky, for them, the problem with them this season, pretty much to me, they don't have enough wing players. They don't really have enough guard play, and what the hell? Okay, I don't know what the hell is going on. So, anyways, like I was saying, this for the Chicago Sky, y'all know Elizabeth Williams and Rachel Banham and Camilla, they were in double figures. The problem with the Chicago Sky is they don't have a whole lot of they don't have wing players like that have been consistent this season, and they're not getting the consistency from they're not getting the consistency from Camilla, and of course, I don't in this game I don't think Ariel Atkins played in this game at all. But and they're not getting consistency from the bench. They don't really have a consistent scoring bench, and that's also been the problem this season. Why they've been one of the worst teams in the league. And plus, Tyler Marsh is like I said before, has not made a lot of adjustments. Has not made a lot of anything like happen as far as like the adjustments, as far as just the overall play. It hasn't really been making it to the point where it's been you haven't really seen the consistency at all from them, and it just overall the team has been struggling from the lack of guard play, the lack of consistency from your centers and your forwards, not coaching, not making adjustments, and you kind of pretty much been seeing that over the course. And Jeff, Jeff, the GM, is not making the right calls, not making the right rules. So at the end of the day, as far as but the thing is, they're not going to talk about. The media is not going to talk about why the Chicago Sky is really struggling. They're just going to put all the onus and all the blame on Angel Reese, even though Angel Reese is kind of, as far as the culture goes, she's impactfully impacted the culture of Chicago Sky, just only in her sector. And they're not going to talk about that part. They're going to talk about her, I guess, in their mind, not improving her game, even though she's been constantly been improving and getting better in her game for a while. So that's the thing, that's the problem, and I just don't really like about what's going on. So yeah, to me, they need to really, work on the Sky need to really work on in the offseason, getting some better players and really work on trying to make back into a winning franchise, getting their team back into a winning franchise, because the way they're going now, they're not going anywhere, and they're just gonna completely be running in the draft. So yeah, that's what I'll say about them from this game. Now let's go to Friday's games, guys. We're gonna go to the Phoenix Mercury and New York Liberty. So the Liberty won 89-76. And the Liberty had outscored the Mercury in the second, third, and fourth quarter. The only person that really was making an impact in double figures in the Friday's game was Alyssa Thomas. She had 20 and 13, and Kalea Copper, excuse me. Sorry about that. Kalea Copper had 14 and 24 minutes. And Satu Sabali, she was pretty much non-existent, and DeWanna Bonner had 9 points in 26 minutes. For the Liberty, Sabrina Ironshoe, she had 29 points in 34 minutes, and Jonquel Jones, Leone, she had 13 and 31 minutes, and Natasha Cloud had 10 and 29 minutes. So those were the stories for the Liberty, and just to me overall, the Liberty, it don't matter who's really consistently scoring. It's just they've been consistently playing well throughout the entire year. It don't matter really who's getting the ball and really impact the game scoring wise, point wise, scoring wise, rebounding and assisting. It's just the team plays cohesively as a cohesive unit together, and they're constantly improving over the course. But I mean, they won the championship last year for a reason, so they just continuously getting better and better as the game goes on. So I really am liking what's going on right now with them. So definitely you definitely, and then also for the Phoenix Mercury, although with the loss they fall to 15 and 9, but they're still proven to be always been a tough competitive team out in the West. So you don't want to sleep on them. Let's go to the Minnesota Lynx for Friday. So the Lynx won on Friday by the score of 109 to 78. Minnesota Lynx outscored the Aces throughout all 4 quarters. Asia Wilson and Jackie Young were the only players in double figures. Everybody else was in the single digits. Their defense just wasn't able to slow the Minnesota Lynx down in any way, shape, or form. And you can see by the way of play from Courtney Williams, Nafisa Collier, and Kayla McBride, and also Bridget Carlton. They all these women were pretty much all the starters were, except for one, was in double figures. And Jessica Shepard off the bench, she came in and scored 10 and 13. She was just on point throughout the entirety, and she completely just absolutely just wreaked havoc. So the whole team pretty much was just on point. They were stretching the floor. They were hitting their threes, getting timely buckets, timely looks. They just played an awesome game. And then also, let's get to yesterday's contest. So the LA Sparks won over the New York Liberty by the score of 101 to 99. Now, for this one, I saw Rakia Jackson, Dereka Hamby, and Kelsey Plum and Azura Stevens. All 4 starters were in double figures, and Ray Burrell off the bench came in with 12 points in 18 minutes. And for the Liberty, you had Sabrina Ironshoe and Natasha Cloud. Sabrina Ironshoe had 30 points in 36 minutes, and of course, Natasha Cloud had 22, 9, and 3 in 34 minutes. Jonquel Jones had 14 and 8 in 29 minutes, and Leone had 10 in 31 minutes. But the LA Sparks are pretty much, like I said before, clicking at the right time. Their record moved their record up to 11 and 14, while the Liberty fall to 17 and 7. The LA Sparks are really clicking and getting hot at the right time. I really like the way that they are they're really just making a complete impact overall in the second half, and they really are showing it. And I like the fact that Rakia Jackson and Dereka Hamby just overall in the second half of the year really just improving and really just making things a lot better for them overall. With a losing record, they're still trying to constantly improve, and over time really learn how to really cohesively just work in it and be in unison as a team. So I really like the way that they're hitting their stride and getting better, and constantly getting better and constantly improving. And if you continue to get plays from people like Ray Burrell off the bench and whoever, I think they'll start to find their foot and find their calling towards the end of the year. And last but not least, the Seattle Storm and the Washington Mystics. The Mystics won 69 to 58. Now this is the team I really want to talk about. I want to shout out the Washington Mystics because overall through the course of the year, they were absolutely just on the downward. They were pretty much in the bottom of the division, bottom of the East. in the Eastern Conference. They were in the bottom of their own division. So let's talk about them real quick. So they outplayed the Storm in the second and third quarter, but the story was Suggs Sutton and, of course, Brittany Sykes. Sonya Citron, she pretty much, if it wasn't for the fact that people been talking about Paige Buchers and her other teammate Kiki, but Sonya Citron, it's just been absolutely phenomenal. I like the way that she's been playing overall this season. She's really just getting better and better as the year goes on. She had 11 and 10 in 30 minutes last night, and Shakira Austin, she had 14 and 11. So yeah, they're completely and constantly getting better over time. And the Seattle Storm, they fall to 15 and 11, and just the Mystics outplayed the Storm mainly in the second and third quarter. The Storm tried to make a little bit of a run, but it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough for them to really make a run. So I think the thing is with Neka Ugamike and Erica Wheeler, they've been consistent. Skylar Diggins, she had 5 points in 24 minutes, so she wasn't really that strong that night, nor Gabby Williams at all either. So that really kind of hurt them overall. But I just think right now with the Storm, they kind of been, like up in the air. They've been faltering a bit. Defensively, they kind of been slowing down a bit. They're not getting enough stops. They're not getting more playing more of a faster pace like they normally did, like they did at the beginning point of the year. So that's really what kind of hurt them overall. So yeah, that's really what I gotta say is it's been a main thing. It's been a main issue for them. But overall, I think that over time we'll see them start to get back into winning form. They'll start to really start getting the games, but getting engaged. But as for the Mystics goes, the Washington Mystics are just playing really, really well, and I think they're a team that's gonna constantly improve and get better, and they're gonna be competing, to get to get into the postseason and really make it a run. So I like the way that they cohesively Brittany Sykes and Sutton and the rest of them have been playing, man. So shout out to them. Shout out to them. And of course, and Sonya Citron, she should be, in my opinion, running for Rookie of the Year. All right, so those are my thoughts on those games for the WNBA. Let's go to the topic also that I really wanted to get into. So, all right, so all right, so this is the topic I really wanted to get into, guys. So Cam Newton's comments on Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts, he said, Cam Newton said about Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. Don't get it twisted. He stated, and he was on his podcast called Fourth and One, and from July 17th episode, and he said Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. Don't get it twisted. Oh shoot. All right. Let me close this off. He said, yeah, Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. Don't get it twisted, he stated. But if we're talking about what they bring to the table, it's hard to judge what Jalen Hurts can do when you throwing it to a guy like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You have a tight end skill set. You have a dominant defense. You have the best running back, Saquon Barkley, in the game. Okay. And let me see what else he said. And then he also names his quarterback listing went down. So he has Josh Allen 1, Lamar Jackson 2, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, let me just Joe Burrow 4, Matthew Stafford 5, Jared Goff 6, Jaden Daniels 7, C.J. Stroud number 8, Justin Herbert number 9, and Baker Mayfield number 10. And despite his reasoning debate got turned up into a pretty spicy level, as is often the case in today's media landscape. Oh, and we have Newton in the mix as well as it's bound to get even spicier. So that's what y'all. So that's what y'all see. That's what y'all wanted to see, huh? And so that's, in a nutshell, his comments on this. So let me go in and just say, let me just say this: this Cam Newton's list of the quarterbacks he follows that are, you know, as far as in his mind goes, the teams that are impactful, quarterbacks that are impactful to their team. This list is complete bull crap. Let me just say that. And then number one, his reasoning why he doesn't want to give the Jalen Hurts credit is also bull crap. So let's first start to say this. Before we even get to Jalen Hurts and everything, I'm gonna respond to Cam with this phrase. So Cam Newton, you want to talk about talent, huh? It's hard to judge a talent and everything with you, right? Let's not even go back to Super Bowl 50 and how you cost the game and how you cost your own team in Super Bowl 50 a championship, when you not only lost the ball, not only you fumbled the ball twice, you lost the ball and you had a chance to recover and fall and dive on it, but you didn't, and you lost the ball towards your own end of the goal line for a touchdown recovered by Von Miller, who was the Super Bowl MVP in that game against a historically good defense in the Denver Broncos, I might add. But you had one of the best offenses and you won league MVP. And look what the talent that you had. This dude had, I don't know, Devin Funchess from Michigan. You had Kelvin Benjamin. You had Jonathan Stewart at one point. Well, I mean, and wait a minute. Didn't you have D'Angelo Williams too? So I'm like, how in the world are you going to talk about talent when you had talent? When you had talent, but why you was going to the Super Bowl? Otherwise, you wouldn't have had a 15-2 record. What are you talking about when it comes to talent? So then, did you have a problem when people was judging you harshly, judging you differently? When you had talent around you? What are you talking about? So you keep talking about talent and everything like that's supposed to matter. A lot of these teams, a lot of these quarterbacks had talent. So I'm like, what are you talking about? That's one thing, Cam Newton, that you didn't understand. And then not only that, let's look at this. So Jalen Hurts, when he got drafted in 2021, and by the way, Jalen Hurts, before we even get to the part where he got drafted by the Eagles, Jalen Hurts was in Alabama. When they got to the SEC championship game, he was replaced. He was replaced by Tua Tagovailoa. So that is true. He did get replaced. Benched. Excuse me. And when that happened, and he wanted to be during that offseason time before the college football season even happened. Before then, and I think this is in 2019, 2020, he wanted to get traded. He wanted to transfer. He wanted to transfer to Oklahoma. Soon as he transferred to Oklahoma, his numbers got better over time. Right? And you're talking about a guy who didn't come into the organization with this whole lot of talent, like you try to believe. Yeah, he had a Zach Ertz who's been in the league for a minute, for about 4 or 5 years before he got there. A Dallas Goedert who they had to draft. Devontae Smith who they drafted around at the same time, because I wasn't thinking about a Devontae Smith or whatnot. Before then, I don't even know if y'all was thinking about it when he was in Alabama. And then also, they had to trade to get A.J. Brown. Cam Newton, that's what you're not understanding. And the only thing that they had when Jalen Hurts got there was a decent offensive line. They had Lane Johnson, they had Jason Kelsey, and then they end up the next following year getting Jordan Matilia. And then they also drafted in 2022, 2023, they got Landon Dickerson. So where they had to go get talent and draft to get talent. They didn't just have talent when Jalen Hurts got there. You know what the receiving talent that they had? Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor. Come on, man, stop. You need to stop with this, Cam. Y'all need to stop with all this talent crap. Because, I mean, it just don't make sense. They had Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor as their talent, man. And then they had Miles Sanders. They had Miles Sanders at the running back position. Like, do you really want me to Cam? Like I could really go there. And then let's go back to your list as your list of the 10 quarterbacks. So first off, how in the world do you have in this listing you have Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson ahead of Patrick Mahomes? That in and of itself is automatic red flags, And I get what you're just listing 10 quarterbacks, but still, that's just wrong. The number two, how in the world where are y'all getting this Justin Herbert in these top 10 lists for? Y'all talk about a guy who has talent. Justin Herbert also had talent around him, and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And then he had J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards from the Ravens the previous few seasons ago. So again, what are you talking about, Cam? And then also, Justin Herbert has done nothing in the playoffs. You talk about a guy who choked a 27-0 lead against the Jacksonville Jaguars in a wild card game, and then had one of his worst wild card games in his postseason career against the Houston Texans just this past season. And then Baker Mayfield. Y'all want to talk about the talent that Baker Mayfield had? Oh my goodness. I mean, we're talking Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Do you want me to keep going? Austin Hooper. Are we serious? And this with the Cleveland Browns during the pandemic years in 2020. So cut this crap out with this talent stuff, man. Because it's getting on my nerves, man. I don't like when people start to downplay other quarterbacks and then they just big up other guys who have way more talent before they first enter the league. I don't understand that. So, and by the way, the Browns also had a decent offensive line. Also, too, when the Baker Mayfield got drafted to the Browns, they had a decent offensive line. They had an all-pro left tackle. And I believe Joe Thomas. I mean, come on now. I'm just saying. Like, it don't make any sense. It don't make sense on how you get to judge these kind of quarterbacks at their point in their careers and overhype quarterbacks like Herbert and Baker Mayfield when they've had talent around them for years, but then downplay other guys when they start winning. And that's the problem. When QBs start winning in the prime of their career, and when guys who are not playing and they're retired or they out the league and they start to win, that's the problem. So again, that's all I got to say about that part. And again, also, as good as Jaden Daniels is, and as good as C.J. Stroud had a down year. Jaden Daniels, how is Jaden Daniels ahead of Jalen Hurts when he hasn't been winning? I mean, he just got started. So I don't understand how you get started by saying I don't know. Understand this? We ain't really see him really play throughout. We ain't really see him really get into his second year of his career, man. We really ain't seen that yet. So we got to give guys a little bit of room and a little bit of time before we start to judge them. And then Matthew Stafford, did he bring a winning culture franchise in Detroit? Did he bring the lesser talent evolving them and get them to the playoffs? Like Jalen Hurts got the Philadelphia Eagles and was one of the number one teams in the league in 2021 with the best running core offense, and got them to a wild card game in the playoffs against the Buccaneers in his first year. Like, did Matthew Stafford do something like that? He was breaking passing yard records in 2011. But I'm talking about, did he get his team to win or at least be competitive in a winning culture as far as winning a playoff game? He didn't do that. He wasn't that impactful. Because if he was, you would have been talking about it more. So yeah, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with this list at all, and I don't agree with the placement of your list of QBs in this placement at all. And I think your judgment of talent, Cam, is completely irrefutable and completely disgusting and disparaging, in my opinion. So yeah, this list was absolutely whack, and I don't understand what he was trying to make a go. But again, a lot of these QBs, a lot of these former retired players and former players that play in the league for a while have, that set passing yard records, rushing records, and all these things They want to try to get on. It's the new thing now. They want to get on these platforms and have shock value. They want to say a lot of shock value things to really get their names in the buzz because they're irrelevant. They've been irrelevant for a while. We ain't heard from them in such a long time because they became irrelevant. And so that's the problem. When you give a lot of people platforms and think they can say things and make it gold. And that's my thing, and that's my problem with his take. Because again, if he was really coming off as genuine, if he really was coming off as watching some games, he really would be coming at a lot of the guys in this commentary, like Ryan Clark and T.O., who are also retired players, and Ryan Clark, who is a Super Bowl champion, by the way, and T.O., who has been to a Super Bowl, who has been one of the top star receivers in his time, in his prime. So yeah, I mean, he's coming at guys that really have actually done things that made an impact. Whereas Cam Newton, you haven't really made. You didn't. You That was the only time in 2015 when you got to the Super Bowl when you made that impact. You have not really made an impact as far as going to other teams and being in a bad situation afterwards. So that's my problem with his take on this. It's because he came out as completely uh delusional and came off as completely disgusting. So that's just all I got to say about this. Tell me what you guys think about Cam Newton's comments down in the down in the chat room or down in the comment section. I'm about to get on out of here. I really need to get some sleep. Worked last night and I'm pretty tired. So I might be a little bit dragging. And Rise, how's it going? But yeah, I'm really tired right now, guys. So, and I'm not. The next video I'm gonna talk about, I'm gonna be talking about that Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist record, the Alfredo 2. That's coming. That's coming. Pretty soon. I'll probably make that review probably on. Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday of next of this upcoming week. So you'll definitely see that. And I definitely will make that Clips Tiny Desk video and their performance because they really been on point. And I'm gonna be talking about more music also on here. And taking a little bit of a break for the movie and TV shows. So yeah, those are just my thoughts about the WNBA and also my thoughts about Cam Newton. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section or in the chat room. Thank you guys for watching, sharing, and subscribing. I will see y'all later. I'm out of here. Peace.